Hey everybody, today I'm going to be doing kind of a multi-part review. I'm going to be talking about a variety of different stock class harnesses. As you can see in some of the videos, I play pump, I play with stock class feeds, so predominantly I use 10-round tubes. And over the years I've used a number of different harnesses, belts, different kinds of things to carry those tubes onto the field. Rather than do a separate review for each one, I'll just talk about a number of different ones that I've used over the years all straight through, and I have most of them right here so I can kind of show them. Now the simplest I think the simplest stock class harness that you're going to find around is one I actually don't have, although I did use it for a while. It's a simple 12-gauge shotgun belt. Simple belt, usually hold 20 to 25 12-gauge shotgun cartridges. The loops are exactly the right size for 12-gram CO2 cartridges and also 10-round tubes. So that's a very cheap solution. Those, you know, $5 maybe. They're dirt cheap, they're durable. They're not going to fall apart on you. They're adjustable. They have good capacity. 20-25 tubes is plenty. But the problem with them that I experienced was that the tubes tended, the loops tended to wear out relatively rapidly. So by the time, I think I used it for about 18 months, the one I had, and by the time I finally stopped using it, the first 3 or 4 loops on either side of the buckle were pretty much too loose to use. You could put a tube in it, but you'd start running and it would fall right out. So that's a problem, that the loops aren't really designed for a lot of in and out. They kind of wear out, lose their elasticity faster than some of the purpose-built harnesses that you'll find. The other issue I experienced with it was that it would tend to move around. You'd tighten it on your waist and it would go up. It would, it wouldn't really go down, but it would go up sometimes, and you end up crawling and it's like on your chest or something. So that was kind of problematic. Now, kind of a step up from that is this right here. This is a Ronin Gear stock class suspender harness. This is a really excellent product. As you can see, it's a suspender harness, so it goes around your waist and also over your shoulders. The capacity on this is fantastic. You can get about 15 tubes on either side around the waist, and then another 10 on either side on the chest. So in total, you're looking at about 50 tubes on you, which I've never carried it with that many, but just having the option is really excellent. This is the kind of thing where in a scenario game, I'd load it up, 15 or so on either side, and as the day went on I just dumped my empties and moved tubes to the most accessible loops, so I didn't have to reload over the course of the day, which was really good. It's durable. It's, even I've used this for a couple of years now. Some of the loops are getting a little worn. You can see in particular this one right here, it's a little loose, but it's only really loose around the top. The rest of it holds just fine. So that actually isn't really a problem with this, which is surprising, but there you go. Also, it's massively adjustable as far as the size goes. You can see I've got it really loose here, basically, or really tight, basically as tight as it gets, but it's got probably another foot of give on either side of the waist, plus in the middle. So, massively adjustable, so that's a really good thing. The material is absolutely solid, not going to break this as hard as you try, as long as you don't take a scissors to it. The biggest problem I have with this is kind of unusual, actually. When this material, it's tough, and this part that sits right behind your neck, over the course of a day, that kind of can rub and irritate your neck and kind of dig into your neck. I've taken to wearing a bandana that goes down there and taken to making sure it's underneath, goes underneath this to prevent that from happening. It's kind of an odd problem to have with a harness, but that's what it is. So that kind of alone actually made me start looking for other options. But the Ronin stock class suspender harness is an absolutely phenomenal stock class harness. Now there's other ways to go about it too. The wrist harnesses, which are really cool. This is an older one that I have, also made by Ronin. Still works fine, although a couple of loops have definitely worn out on this, so I really only carry 3 tubes in here instead of the maximum of 5. But very simple, goes around your wrist, Velcros, not going to go anywhere. As you can see, it's got a lot of Velcro, so loose, tight, however you need it, whatever size, that's fine. Pretty straightforward. Good product. And actually, for a while, I put this around a 16-ounce CO2 tank on my Tippmann rather than wear it, and I had a 40-round ammo box, and I could just reload straight from the tank onto the ammo box and back down, so that was a pretty cool use of this. Here is another example of a wrist harness, this one made by PBMafia. There you go, PBMafia. Now this is a little more sophisticated a product. It's a capless rig, so it's got loops, okay, for the tubes, and then it's got these little pouches where you put the top of the tube. You don't need either normal caps or speed caps for this, although I use it with speed caps. I don't use capless. But again, lots of Velcro to make it fully adjustable, make sure it fits you. It fits my scrawny little wrist just fine. but you could also make it quite large. I don't think this would be a problem if I was using this as a capless rig, but when I don't use the pouches, when I just use it with the 5 loops, the tubes have slipped out on occasion. But like I said, I think that's more my use of it, not the product itself. And PBMafia actually makes a standard version where the loops are about 4 inches long rather than 1 inch, and that's probably a heck of a lot more secure than these. Overall, excellent product. This is probably my preferred stock class harness right now. Finally, I have one more kind of thing to show, and this is a really interesting take on the stock class harness because this is actually a pair of pants. These are Smokin Pants, but built in here are stock class loops. You got 5 on either thigh, okay, and then 5 on each back pocket. Now, if you want to sit down, you can't use all 5 on each back pocket. You're basically stuck with the outermost 2. Maybe the outermost 3 you can get away with, but the innermost ones, if you're going to sit down, you can't have anything there. So you're kind of limited to 10 on the front, maybe 6 on the back. Still, it's pretty good capacity, especially considering it's attached to your pants. So the change in mobility as far as wearing this harness is 0. It's just your pants, which is really nice. The loops seem pretty solid. I've only used this once. I'll do a dedicated review on these pants once I've used them a couple more times. So far the loops are, they're in good shape. They're holding up. I didn't have any problems with tubes slipping out or anything. But this is a really interesting take. It kind of gets rid of the whole need for a harness entirely. So that's another option that's out there. Things I didn't mention today because I've never owned them are a couple of other PBMafia products. They make some really excellent, from what I've heard and read, stock class harnesses that go on your back, but I'm not really a fan of harnesses that hold tubes on your back. But again, that's another option to be aware of. But as far as stock class harnesses that I've used, that's kind of the long and short of it. Hope that was helpful. See you next time.